Hello children, it's Samir sir here. Once again, I welcome you all in this today's video session. And in today's session, we are going to discuss about the fourth chapter of our syllabus, the portrait of a lady. So children, the chapter Portrait of a Lady, which is written by Khushwant Singh. Here is on your screen the picture of a Khushwant Singh, born on 2nd of February 1914 and died on 20th March 2014. Born on 2nd February 1914 and died on 20th March 2014. So children, now we'll know in brief about the Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh is an Indian writer in English. Khushwant Singh is an Indian writer. He belongs to India and he is an Indian writer in English. He was born on 2nd February 1914. He is a prominent Indian novelist and a journalist. So here children, Khushwant Singh worked as a novelist also and a journalist also. We can call a person a novelist when he has written something in the form of a novel. So he has written some novels also, that's why we can call him as a novelist also, and he is a journalist also. Singh's weekly column with a malice towards one and all. So this is one of the journal, this is one of the edition of a news which is called as a with malice towards one and all, carried by the several Indian newspapers. So whatever the articles he used to write, his articles were having a lot of importance. That's why the several Indian newspapers and the publisher of a newspapers used to publish his articles in their newspaper. He is among the most widely read column in the country. So especially the articles which were written by the Khushwant Singh were maximum of the peoples of India used to read it in entire the country. Singh is best known for his portrait of the secularism, his humor and the abiding love of a poetry. So maximally the humor of his poetry, what he portrays, that is touching to the all people. So that's why it shows the love of his poetry and his love towards the poems. He is a recipient of the Padma Bhushan in 1974 and Padma Vibhushan in 2017. Through his work is going to be too much popular, so he was awarded with the award of Padma Bhushan in 1974 and Padma Vibhushan in 2017. He was one of the editors of the famed Illustrated Weekly of India. So he was the editor of a journalism or the journal also. So here children, we'll start our lesson from the paragraph number first. I'll read and I'll explain. Listen it carefully. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. All of you know children, it is very common that the grandmother, the word once we listen, the one image created in our mind, that's a old woman. So writer Khushwant Singh is also telling same here that my grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for the 20 years that I had known her. So from the birth of the writer, from that time to the writer becomes for 20 years, how much he saw his grandmother, that his grandmother exactly looking same like an old woman and wrinkled on her face. Wrinkled on her face means, wrinkle means the sign of old age, the lines which came on her face, that is called as a wrinkles. People said that she had once been a young and pretty, even had a husband also. When she was a young, she looks very pretty and she was having a husband also. But that was hard to believe. My grandmother's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. But if we saw the picture of my grandmother, we couldn't think that my grandfather married to my grandmother or my grandmother married to such a person. He wore a big turban and loose fitting clothes. If we saw that picture of the grandfather, in that picture we can justify his clothes like he wore a big turban. Turban, it means pagdi, what we can say, what the Sikh peoples usually used to wear on their head. So turban and the loose fitting clothes. His white beard covered the best part of his chest. The beard, the long and stale, which is covered the best part of his chest. It means that he is having very thick and very long beard. He looked at least 100-year-old. In that picture, he was looking like at least 100-year-old. He did not look the sort of a person who would have a wife or a children. By looking at that picture, we can't say that he is also having a wife or a children. He looked as if he could only have lots and lots of grandchildren. By observing the personality of the grandfather in that picture, we can predict that he couldn't have a wife, maybe he is having a grandchildren. That much older he was looking from that grandmother. As for my grandmother being young and pretty, the thought was almost revolting. If we compare the personality of his grandfather and grandmother, there is a lot of differences between the both of personality, because that grandfather was looking literally old and that grandmother was not looking that much of a older enough as compared to the grandfather. She often told us of the games she used to play as a child. So whenever she used to spend a time with a grandson or with the writer, she used to tell him the games which she used to play when she was a child. That seemed quite absurd and undignified on her part, that we treated it like the pebble of the prophet she used to tell us. And she was not telling only the games which she used to play when she was a child, but she was telling some of the religious things also, the stories of her prophets also, the stories of her pure peoples, the stories of her holy peoples also. So here in second paragraph, children, she had always been short and fat and slightly bent. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. So here the writer is describing about the personality of a grandchildren, how a sick woman looks like, how a grandmother of a writer was looking like, which kind of a personality was she was having at that time. So she had always been short. So the writer's grandmother was looking little short and little flat and slightly bent. She was little shorter, she was little fatter, and she was little slightly bent. You know the children, the backbone of old age people slightly bent in front. So that was also kind of an age miracle we can see in her personality. Her face was crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. So as the children, you know that the sign of old age, that automatically when the age is going to be grown up, so the wrinkles were started coming on her face, the lines were started coming on her face. So there were plenty of lines were available there on the face of a grandmother, and we can't find it that which line is coming from where and where it's going to be ended out. So it means that maximum lines were there. We can't say that everywhere to everywhere. We can't find out that this line is coming from here, then this line will going to be ended there. We can't justify or we can't find it. So that kind of wrinkles were there on her face. We were certain she had always been as we had known her. So the writer is telling that how much he knows to his grandmother, she was literally same. Old, so terribly old that she could not have grown older and stayed at the same age for 20 years. She became that much old. After 20 years also, she was looking literally same. When the writer was a child, when he saw his grandmother that she was looking like a very old, when the writer is grown up, he becomes for 25 years, or when he becomes for 20 years, at that time also his grandmother was looking like a same age. He thought that she have never grown up, she stayed, her age has been stayed at was there itself. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. At the old age, she was not looking pretty, but she was always beautiful. She hobbled about the house in the spotless white, with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop and the other telling the beds of her rosary. So in that house, she used to walk everywhere, because in that house, she is the only woman along with the grandson Khushwant Singh. So she used to wander everywhere in that house. So you know the children, at the sign of old age, the maximum of the people used to keep the one hand on their waist. to control their balance, or else they used to hold a stick while walking. But here the writer's grandmother used to keep her one hand on the waist, and with the another one hand she used to count the beads of a rosary. It means rosary means it's kind of a, what we can say, the male that people used to, while reciting the prayers, they used to counted it. Her silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale and puckered face, and her lips constantly moved in an inaudible prayers. It means she's working, she's not working, she's doing any kind of a work, or she's talking to somebody, or she's just sitting quiet. She never stopped preaching to the gods. She never stopped praying to the gods. If she is sitting quiet, her fingers were started moving and her lips were also moving. So continuously, constantly she was praying to God. Yes, she was beautiful. While doing this kind of act also, she was beautiful. She was like a landscape in the mountains. Ironically he used here, she was like a landscape in the mountains. An expanse of a pure white serenity, breathing peace and the contentment. She feels that if we pray to the God, we are going to get a kind of a pleasure, we are going to get kind of a feel, we are going to get kind of a peace in her heart. That was her belief. That's why she was praying to the God a lot. Third paragraph, student. My grandmother and I were good friends. So writer is telling here his grandmother and he were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. When the writer's parents went to the city to live, they left the writer along with his grandmother. From that time to till today, the writer and his grandmother were staying together in a one room. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for a school. So grandmother was the only woman in that house, so she used to wake him up early in the morning, and she's making the author ready. She's making the author ready for a school. She said her morning prayers in a monotonous sing song while she bathed and dressed me, in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. So whenever she was making the writer ready, she used to singing her prayers in a loud voice, in a monotonous one by one, and in a very loud voice she used to sing those prayers. Why she used to sing those prayers in a loud voice means she wanted to make him by her. She wanted the writer to by her those all prayers. That's why she was singing those all prayers in a loud way that writer can by her. I listened it because I loved her voice, never bothered to learn it. The writer was listening the prayers because he loved his grandmother's voice, but he never bothered about learning them. Then she would fetch my wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with the yellow chalk, and a tiny earthen ink pot and a red pen. So whatever the necessary equipments are there, she fetched it and given it to the writer. It means that slate, the ink pot, a red pen, the bundle, and hand it to me. After a breakfast of a thick and stale chapatis with a little butter and a sugar spreaded on it. For a breakfast, she used to give him a stale chapatis. A stale chapatis means the chapatis made one day before. The chapatis made one day before, that is called as a stale chapati. She used to give him a stale chapatis with a little butter and sugar spread on it. So normally we also had the same kind of a breakfast in our home. So we used to take a chapatis, we used to spread a little bit of a butter and a sugar on it, we will roll it and we used to have it. So that kind of a same breakfast the writer's grandmother is also used to give to the writer for a breakfast. We went to school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. So after completing the entire process from the house, they both were left to the schools. So when they both were going to the school, both were means the grandmother is also going along with the writer to the drop him to the school. And while going, she used to take some of the stale chapatis for the village dog also. You know children, wherever we are going, we can meet to the several dogs. So as similarly, when the writer and his grandmother was moving towards the school, they used to meet some of the dogs. So she brought some of the stale chapatis along with her for those village dogs. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. So every day when the writer was about to going to the school, so grandmother used to make him ready and she's taking him to the school, and she was also going along with him because that school was attached to the temple. The priest taught us alphabets and the morning prayers while the children sat in a rows in either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayers in a chorus. So when those all reached to the school and the grandmother reached to the temple, so the priest of that temple only used to teach them there, and he is teaching them morning prayers also, alphabets also, by making them sit into the veranda of that temple. And after telling the priest, they used to sing all the prayers, they used to read all the alphabets in a chorus. Chorus means combined voice, in one voice. My grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. So when these all children were sitting into the veranda of the temple, so at that time the grandmother of a writer used to sit inside the temple and she used to read their scriptures. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. So when they both were finished the sessions, it means that the grandmother has been completed her prayers and the writer has been completed her study. Say both walk back together to their house. After completing the session of the learning and reading process, they both used to walk back together. This time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. So as they make them habitual that while coming and while going, they used to throw some chapatis to those dogs. So the dogs were also become habitual. So they know that now at this time the grandson and grandmother about to come, so they will throw us some of the chapatis also. So the dogs used to meet them on the door of a temple. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw them. So the dogs were started following to the grandmother and grandson for the chapatis. They used to fight with each other and they used to growl on each other for the chapatis. Then my parents were comfortably settled in the city. They sent for us. When the writer's parents were settled comfortably in the city, they called them to the city. So till their parents called them, the grandfather, the grandson and the grandmother were there in the village. Once their parents became settled in city, they called for them. That was a turning point in our friendship. Writer is telling that. So when the parents were called into the city, it became a turning point in the friendship of the writer and his grandmother. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. It means that, so here in village they used to stay in one house only. But when they went to the city, there also they used to stay in a one room. But my grandmother no longer came to school with me. So as you know children, when they were in village, the grandmother used to take his grandson to the school. But when they went to the city, there the grandmother has stopped going to the school along with the grandson. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. Why she stopped going along with him? Because in city, the writer started going to the English medium school in a motor bus, in a school bus. There were no dogs in the street and they took the feeding sparrows in the courtyard of a city hall. So as the writer started going into the bus and the grandmother is also stopped coming to the school, so the system has been totally changed. So there were no dogs. So just because there were no dogs, so grandmother started feeding to the sparrows in the courtyard of their city house. In the city house's courtyard, in the veranda of their house, they started feeding to the sparrows. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. Sometimes she continued to wake me up and get me ready for schools. As the year rolled, we saw less to each other. They were staying in one room. They were staying in one home. But it has become very less by they saw to each other. Sometimes she continued to wake me up and get me ready for a school. As the grandmother has been habitual that she is making the author ready when she was in a village, when they both were in a village. In city also she started waking him up for a school and making him ready for a school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teachers have taught. So when the writer is came after the school, or when the daily writer is coming from the school, she used to ask him that what the teacher has been taught me in a school, that what my teacher has been taught me in a school. I would tell English words, a little things of Western science, and then learning the law of gravity, the Archimedes principles, the world being round, etc. So whatever the Western knowledge, so whatever the Western science, whatever the modern education of English, Archimedes principles and the science and the world has been round, whatever the writer's modern education he learnt in a school, he used to tell his grandmother. This made her unhappy. By listening of these all modern educations, the grandmothers became little bit unhappy. She could not help me with my lessons because she is unable to help him with this modern education. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English school, was distressed that there was no teaching about God, the scriptures. So sometimes she becomes disappointed, sometimes she becomes unhappy because in that English medium school there was only modern teaching, there was only a scientific teaching. In that school there were no teaching of God, there were no teaching of religious aspect, there were no teaching of prayers. That's why she became little bit disappointed. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She never used to tell that this is bad or this is good, but her silence and her innocent face shows her disapproval, that she is not quite happy with it. She rarely talked to me after that. After the completion of that session, she rarely used to talk to the writer, because the writer know that this is not going to be quite easier for her to understand the modern education, because she is one of the religious women who used to spend her maximum of the time into the prayers, praying to the God, counting the beds of a rosary. This is all the daily routine of that grandmother. Second paragraph, children. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. So when the writer has been grown up, so he has given his own separate room. The common link of friendship was snapped. So when they went to the city, there was a common link between the writer and his grandmother. Which was that link means? That was the same room in which they used to stay. But unfortunately, the writer is grown up. He can't be adjusted with his grandmother in that one room, although he grown up. That's why he got in a separate room. So this was a common link of that friendship has been snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with the resignation. Seclusion means in the state of being alone. Accepted the seclusion means in the state of being alone. So the grandmother started staying alone. She not used to talk to anybody much. She started in a seclusion. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk anyone. She really, so whatever work she used to do in her room itself. She is not letting anyone to talk to her, or neither she is not going to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel spinning and reciting prayers. From the morning to evening, she used to sit at one side, or she used to sit in her room and she used to recite the prayers. Only in the afternoon, she relaxed for a while to feed the pharaohs. So it was became her normal routine of all days, that from the morning to afternoon, she used to feed the sparrows, and after afternoon or in the afternoon, she used to be relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. So when she was in village, she used to feed the village dogs. Now in city, she started feeding to the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda, breaking the bread in the little bits, hundreds of little birds collected around her, creating the vertical bedlam of her chirping. So when she started feeding to those sparrows, when they started feeding to those birds, so every day without fail those birds used to come at the same time and she used to feed them. So birds were creating the sound of a vertical bedlam of a chirping. The birds were used to make a sound. The sound of a bird is called as a chirping. The sound of a sparrows is called a chirping. Some came and perched on her legs, but she never shooed them away. So some of the birds were coming on, sitting on her thighs. Some of the birds were coming and sitting on her shoulder, but she never shooed them away. That much kind-hearted that grandmother was. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day. So this was going to be the happiest half hour of the day when she used to feed the sparrows. I hope you understood, children.